Hello, and welcome to It's Not That Bad, optimistic movie reviews for optimistic people. That's Simone LaRue.
And that's Chad Ekowitz. Is this a thing
I like
now?
the
Is
game
that what
show
we're
host
doing?
thing. I think game show host is pretty cool. I mean, I've always wanted to be the SNL guy, you know, who like does people's names, and he's just like, guest star, Beck. Like, he's the best. Andy Samberg.
That's a pretty lofty career ambition still, in this day and age.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going all the way to the top. Like Miley Cyrus said, it's about the climb.
It's the climb. So, jumping right into it, Chad, tell us what movie you'll be defending today.
By some inexplicable chance, we've decided to have a sci-fi episode, and I will be defending the crap out of In Time, Justin Timberlake's finest work, in my opinion.
It's a lot of fun, actually.
It's great. And what are you doing this week?
I am doing Transformers, the first movie. The original, the first one, 2007, Shia LaBeouf, Megan Fox.
What an innocent time.
I wouldn't call it that. I learned a lot about Michael Bay in reading up on this movie.
Oh, really?
We'll get into it.
Oh, that's very exciting.
But I have a lot of thoughts.
I love your thoughts and feelings. It's always great when you have thoughts and feelings. It makes me really happy. So, for those of you who have never listened to this podcast before, this is the podcast where you come to when you want to watch a bad movie and you don't know what to watch, and we tell you, hey, these are all bad, but these are the reasons why they're actually good. And if they're critically shunned, hey, maybe they should be given a second chance.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe, depending on how terrible it is.
Honestly, fuck Gremlins 2.
Whoa! That is uncalled for.
I'm sorry, that's how I feel. That's how I feel.
That is a strong stance to take so early on in an episode, and I am unhappy about that.
I'm sorry. It's not relevant right now.
Whoa, Gremlins is always relevant. How dare you? You want to hurt something I love? That's so...
It's kind of fun, though, because we're talking about a Steven Spielberg film again. This episode. So okay, so as we usually do, what are you drinking? It's the middle of a work day now that we're recording. So I'm having hot chocolate with little marshmallows in it.
Oh, that's nice.
Because it's cold today too.
Do you prefer big marshmallows or small marshmallows?
It's gotta be the little ones. Then you just sip them when they're a little melted.
Right? And it's not like a huge disaster when they start to melt with the big ones.
Exactly.
Like, it's just a terrifying goop mess.
Yeah, exactly, and you don't know how to handle it. It's too much goop.
Too much goop.
What are you drinking?
I have decided to be a little bit fancy, and I've put a shot of Bailey's in my coffee.
Oh, so warm beverages for both of us today.
Yeah, because I do want to do a bit of work afterwards, so I thought alcohol, coffee, should neutralize, I should still be able to work. That's a good idea.
I certainly hope it works out for you.
I do too. And I made the same drink yesterday, and I was really smart about it yesterday, and I heated up the Baileys before. I didn't have time to do that today, so it's full on split. Which is not a great feeling.
So just don't look at it. You just close your eyes and drink it, and try not to think about it.
That is the name of my sex tape.
Oh, it gets worse.
Name of your sex tape.
True.
So I guess I get to go first this time.
You sure do. Tell everybody about In Time.
This is very exciting. In a dystopian future that looks remarkably similar to the hellscape that we are currently living in, all children have been genetically modified so that when they turn 25, a timer on their forearm starts counting down from a year. They will never age beyond 25, but when that timer runs out, they will die. As such, time has now become the currency. If you want to buy something, you pay with years, hours, minutes, and seconds. Our protagonist is Will Salas, played by Justin Timberlake. He is quite poor, having only about a day on his timer. He lives with his mum, played by Olivia Wilde, who has just turned 25 for the 25th time, meaning she's 50. Will plans on going to work and then meeting her later that night once he's done. She has to go pay some of the debts the family has accrued, and Will has to be there because she will not have much time left after the payment. Will goes to work. He finds out the prices of things have gone up yet again, and he also gets shortchanged for his wages because he didn't fulfill his quota for the day. This leaves him in even more debt. Despite this, he still gives some time to a little girl who works for a debt relief center so he can help them however he can. Later, he meets his buddy, Burrell, played by Johnny Galecki of Big Bang fame, at a bar. Burrell is drunk. This will be important later. So, at the bar, there's this guy, played by Matt Bomer. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's Bomer or Bomer?
I think it's Bomer.
Who knows? Is it Bomer?
Yeah.
Okay. But he's very attractive. Handsome. What a jawline.
I love that we both were like, yes, but rest assured, everyone, he's very handsome.
If you want to tune into our new podcast, Is He Handsome? That will feature exclusively people like John Hamm from me.
It's only John Hamm. And the answer is always unequivocally yes.
Yes, he is a handsome, handsome man. This Matt Bomer guy has at least a century on his timer. He's flaunting it around and buys drinks for all the pretty women. After some time, a time thief, played by Aaron Perillo, I think, comes by in to steal the time from the rich guy and leave him dead. Will saves him from the time thief, and they have an interesting conversation. The guy reveals to Will that there is enough time to share between everyone so that no one has to worry about running out, but the rich don't want the poor to know that because there aren't enough resources on the planet in order to keep everyone living forever. So, the rich increase prices so that the poor can never keep on top of their bills. They therefore die. The guy is only telling Will this because he is over 100 years old and wants to die now. He believes that no one should live forever. During that night, he gives Will all his time and goes and dies. Will has now got over a century and more money than he has ever had ever. He gives a decade to his buddy Burrell and some to the charity. He then goes to wait for his mum. Unfortunately, she doesn't have enough for the bus and so is forced to run the distance to meet Will. It's a 2-hour walk and she only has an hour and a half on her timer. She runs, Will realizes something is wrong because she's not on the bus and he runs after her. It looks like they're going to make it, but unfortunately, she doesn't and she dies. With rage in his heart, Will then infiltrates the richer district, known as Time Zones, to find out how the other half live. He meets Philip Weiss, played by Vincent Catheiser, who is the richest man on the continent. He has a daughter, Sylvia, played by Amanda Seyfried, who flirts with Will. Then, at a party, the timekeepers come for Will. Timekeepers are like cops, basically. The lead timekeeper, Raymond Leone, played by Cillian Murphy, believes that Will killed the rich man and took all of his time. He wants to lock him up. Will is able to escape by taking Sylvia hostage. While traveling with him, she realizes that what her father is doing is wrong, and that these poor people don't have to live like this. They set out to steal from all of her father's banks and give away the time to everyone. The rich elites respond by spiking up prices further. So, the criminal duo goes one step further to hit Philip where it hurts. They steal his first ever Eon. They then give that to the poor, thus disseminating the entire system. From there, other countries start to collapse and the whole system fails. Boom. The end.
This movie was long.
It was long, surprisingly long.
The middle really drags.
Yeah, like it starts off with really good intention and it world builds really well.
Yeah.
And then it sort of dries up and then the ending kind of doesn't matter.
So, I think, like, where this movie kind of goes wrong, and there are a couple places it goes wrong, but, like, its whole message is entirely self-defeating. Like, the protagonists are saying, everybody should have enough, and time is obviously an allegory for money. Like, time is money. So, the whole message is essentially, I guess, communism or socialism, where just, like, you make sure that everybody has enough.
Yeah.
And their whole message is that's how it should be. Like, nobody should live forever. Nobody should have millions of years. So they redistribute the wealth. And then the whole economy collapses. Which, I mean, I'm not going to go into the economics of, like, everybody having enough money to put back into the economy as opposed to millions of years just sitting there in a vault not being used. But it really, they're like, yeah, everybody should have some, but now the economy's collapsed. So you're seeing negative consequences of exactly what the heroes achieved.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just not, I think, getting the message across that they want across.
No, especially if the allegory is for money, because I think in itself, like, if time is the currency, it needs to be... What they're trying to do is they're trying to say that it can be devoid from a currency, so no one should have to pay with time, and that time is just a thing. No, that's not even what they're saying,
though.
But which is what's wrong, because what they're trying to say is that as a currency, everyone should have enough.
Yeah.
But money isn't necessarily what keeps you alive. Like...
Yeah.
And so they're kind of crossing the message, like, yeah, it's a really mixed metaphor that just doesn't really pan out for them.
Yeah. And, you know, I think the whole world is very interesting. Though. Yeah, it's a really interesting concept, and I think, you know, initially they world build it really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, the first bit where they're explaining everything, and people are paying with stuff, and everybody looks the same age, that's really fun. But I think maybe the plot didn't focus where it could have focused.
Yeah, definitely. It was a really bold attempt to give across a really important social message.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely, like, in terms of money, if everyone, you know, sort of gave everyone else money and everyone had enough money, there would be no poverty. And it is technically possible. But when it comes to time as currency, the allegory is going to fall short.
Yeah.
Like, capitalism is a broken and flawed system, as is communism and socialism and pretty much every system. Unfortunately, it is the only system that we have for now. And I'm not an advocate of capitalism. I think we should, you know, cut off the heads of all the bourgeoisie. But this message, the movie fails to show why we should do that, really.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's not showing the broader benefits of having a population. Also, it's just really confusing because, like, they're in the poorest district, so they distribute wealth around the poorest district. And then all of them immediately go to the richest district, where it's like, you know, you could just chill in, like, the fourth richest district. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. They're like, yeah, now we're all gonna go spend our money in the rich district. And it's like, if you really want to stick it to them, you should specifically not spend your money in the rich district.
Yeah.
Like, you're just giving their money back to them.
Exactly. And it would make more sense for them to withhold the wealth.
Yeah, exactly. It's really mixed. I don't think they really thought through the implications of the message they were getting across, so that's why I think the movie falls a little flat, is like, you know, the world is interesting and the characters are kind of fun and it's all, like, really beautifully filmed. But, like, at the end, you're like, oh, is that what I've been watching for 2 hours for?
Yeah, and it doesn't need to be this long for that purpose.
Oh my God,
it really, really doesn't. Also, it made me really sad that you weren't invincible. That I really was hoping that time was the only way you could die.
Well, I assume like, that a lot of illness has been eliminated.
Yeah, right? Otherwise, because if you have something like, you know, something like AIDS, which shortens your lifespan, essentially this would counteract that effect, because, you know, the time on your wrist dictates how much time you have left. So if you had AIDS, that time would incrementally decrease, or polio or TB or whatever. But exactly, like.
Well, but yeah, it's. I think I'm kind of glad they didn't try to explain it too much, though. You know, like, it's an inherently flawed concept biologically. So they were like, everyone just is 25 until they're not, and that's it.
Also, that was a little creepy, I found, in terms of Will Smith with Justin Timberlake's character and his mum, because they're both, like, really attractive people, but their relationship is really weird, and they're, like, dynamic. The same age.
Yeah, it's very odd.
It was really creepy.
Yeah, but I guess, you know, it's your mom.
Yeah. Could you imagine being 25 forever, though?
Every day. I was just telling you about how I bought a new moisturizer the other day to stave off the inevitable effects of my mortality. So yes, I would love to be 25 forever. I think that would be sick. Or look 25 forever, be pretty cool. I guess.
Like, I think with my current financial situation, I'd be dead right now.
Yeah.
If this were the reality.
I would be hanging on by a thread.
It would be terrifying. Can we also just talk about the fact that Cillian Murphy in this film is 100% not 25, and that made no sense?
Clearly some people age worse than others.
There is no way that guy looked like that when he was 25. Look, he's a beautiful man with the most incredible eyes, but not 25.
Again, this was another thing that kind of made the movie fall flat, is like, you truly don't understand his character's motivations or like why he's so obsessed with the whole, like, you know, keeping the system going.
Yeah, because he seems to be like a really just cop, like he doesn't take any bribes or anything.
Yeah, but you don't know why. You don't know why he's like so singularly obsessed with this one dude. And also, he's a very frustrating cop. Because he just says something cryptic and walks out of the, like, investigation meeting. Or, like, he'll say something cryptic and then look away. Or one of the other detective will, like, ask him a question and he just looks off into the middle distance. And you're like, you need to talk to your fellow cops. You can't do this.
That's so true. He's really dramatic. He's like an 80s Miami Vice cop
exactly.
in a movie that just like,
and
doesn't
so you can't
allow
really
for
take
that.
him seriously as a villain because like there's nothing really realistic about him or like personable. Like he's not a character so much as I guess a symbol.
Yeah, and also his death is just incredibly goofy. Like it's just the most goofy death ever. Just, I happen to run out of time. Okay. Oh,
yeah, it was very anticlimactic.
Yeah, he almost caught them, and then it's because he didn't sort of top up.
Which, you know, maybe just make sure you've got a day. Like, I know it was a whole pride thing with him, like, you know, I don't take more than I need, blah, 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 but it's like, you get a salary, probably.
Yeah.
Just take it all.
And it was ridiculous, and like that's the best thing about it, because like he's about to get his salary, and he's like, oh, just wire me my stipend or whatever, and then he sees them and he's like, no, never mind. It's like, dude, it's like a 4-second operation. Just get the money and then chase them. They're not going to get that far away from you.
Just in case.
It's ridiculous. I actually enjoyed Amanda Seyfried in this. It's one of the very few things that I've actually enjoyed her on. I know.
For you.
I know. I think it's because she, at this stage, was still, like, relatively unknown. So she wasn't sort of herself.
I mean, she wasn't that unknown. I believe she'd done Red Riding Hood by that point. And she had done Mamma Mia.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. If my
that goes
right.
back. That takes me back then. Okay, I will retract my statement. Good on her.
Maybe your hatred of Amanda Seyfried is entirely unjustified.
It is 100% not unjustified. I know you've recently become a Mamma Mia fan. That you're
I've always
into
been
that
a Mamma
whole
Mia
thing
fan.
now.
I stand by that.
And but no, I'm completely justified in my hatred for her. I'm gonna spam you with Amanda Seyfried songs from Les Mis now, and
I mean, look, if you bring Les Mis into it, everybody looks bad. Everybody who did Les Mis looks bad, okay? I know this.
That's so good. That's the best statement I've ever heard in my life. If you bring Les Mis into this, everyone's gonna look bad. You're just a gem. You're just like a t-shirt creating gem.
Thank you. I'm guys, if you're hiring.
Get your sayings from Simone. She's the best at t-shirt
very
making.
Wise.
Clearly.
Like one of those 8 balls that you shake.
Often her answer is unlikely. or I don't know.
Usually just no.
I mean, what did you enjoy about it apart from sort of the world building?
Visually, like I said, it's a really cool movie. Like, I think they put a lot of effort into the visuals. I loved all, like, the futuristic cars in this. They were very noticeable, but, like, so cool. It was a really, really nice detail.
Yeah, it was sort of, like, cool, retro, future tech.
Yeah.
It was nice.
So I really enjoyed that. The outfits were cute. I mean, Amanda Seyfried was running in heels the entire movie. You'd think that if you're, like, robbing a bank, maybe you'd throw on some sneakers, but, I don't want to tell her how to live. This movie, like, really giveth and taketh away. Like, sometimes there are these really cool moments where, like, when the main character is in the rich city and he's eating breakfast, and the waitress is like, oh, I know you're not from around here because you, like, do everything really fast. Like, you eat really fast and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's because, like, you know, they don't have enough time.
You don't have time.
To be able to do stuff slowly. And that was, like, cool. Like, that's interesting. Mm-hmm. But in the same breath, like, she's like, oh, and you don't have a bodyguard. And it's like, why do all the rich people have bodyguards in a neighborhood that we've just seen is really hard and expensive to even, like, enter?
Yeah.
Like, why? Yeah. Why does everyone need a bodyguard? And it's never really explained.
Yeah, that's really true. And also, if the bodyguards are getting paid less than the person they're guarding, like, wouldn't you be freaking out, like, every 5 seconds because your time is just running out while you're kind of wasting your day?
I mean, presumably they get paid enough that they're not gonna rob anyone. But, like, yeah, so that's confusing. So they make a big deal of the sequence when he drives from, like, his poorest district to the richest district, of him going through a bunch of checkpoints.
Yeah.
But when they show a map of the zones later, like, he's zone 12, the rich zone is obviously zone 1. When they show a map later, the two zones are, like, next to each other. And also throughout the movie, it's really quick for everyone to get between zones. Mm-hmm. So that was a confusing and pointless sequence.
The taxi driver was just trying to
he had one of those, like, Uber drivers that goes the long way around because you don't know any better.
That is a really good point, and it's something you don't realize because they just cross the borders really quickly in every other sequence but that first one.
And then there are a lot of these really awkward social situations where, like, people see, you know, they glance at your arm and they see how much money you've got on the clock, and, you know, it's awkward. It's like talking about money. You don't necessarily tell people how much you have in savings at any given time.
Yeah.
So I would think that there would be... The only person who we see wear an accessory to cover her clock is Sylvia. No one else does it, but I would think that, like, everyone would have accessories just to, like, keep it covered.
Kind of, be modest.
Yeah, exactly. Especially because, like, there's so many awkward social situations where people are like, oh, I see you have this much, and, like...
Yeah, especially when there's people who just want to rob you, like the time bandits and things.
All the time.
What?
Also, the whole time bandits thing could have been abandoned completely. That gangster was absolutely pointless.
I hated every second of him.
Yeah, he was completely superfluous to the plot.
Just a terrible guy. He's British, he's weedy, he's the worst. It was just awful.
It was pointless.
It was a really cool scene when him and Justin Timberlake, like, fight. But apart from that scene, he was just kind of a dick.
Yeah.
And there was no need for it.
And he gets dispatched of fairly quickly in the third act. So, he really presents no obstacles. But otherwise, like, I think it's a fairly fun movie to watch. Like, if you're not thinking about it too much, you're just chilling, you're, like, eating some pizza on a Friday night, like, it's a Friday action night kind of movie.
Oh, yeah.
You look at the cars, you look at the outfits, Justin Timberlake's pretty easy on the eyes. It's fun.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point, and I think you're 100% right, because I think if you saw this movie on TV, if you saw it come up in, like, one of the channels, you'd be like, yes, I'm definitely going to watch that.
I'll throw that on.
Yeah, it's one of those bad movies that you are definitely willing to watch again. I mean, when I spoke to my parents about it, and I was like, they asked me, they were like, what are you doing this week? And I was like, Transformers In Time. They were like, In Time is a great movie.
Yeah, everybody I know was like, oh, did it do badly? And I was like, I too was surprised, because I really enjoyed it the first time I watched it. I just had to be critical this time.
Exactly. So, I mean, it is a bad movie, technically, just because of its message and its loss of that. But overall, it is, in fact, a really fun, good movie.
Yeah, interestingly done concept. Yeah. What is your scene that could have saved it?
I don't know necessarily. I think I would have liked to see more of sort of the other countries and how they worked, because the whole third act felt very very condensed. And obviously that was the whole plot point. It was that everyone can live forever. Well, everyone can have enough money, but the rich just want to keep people down. You know, the whole tagline of the film was sort of, many must die so a few can live forever, or something along those lines. And it would have just been great to see that concept on a global scale, because clearly, Philip Weiss controls what I assume is the American district, and then there are obviously other districts like the English district, Tokyo,
we
that
see a
kind of
world
thing,
map
or the
at
Asian
some
district.
point, yeah.
Yeah, and it would have just been really cool to see those places and how they were doing, especially because apparently, like Sylvia and Will are just going from place to place and disrupting the system.
Yeah.
But all of that was very condensed, where everything else was huge. Yeah. So a bit more of that would have been nice.
Yeah, that's true.
How about you? What's your scene that could have saved it?
Slightly less serious. I mentioned earlier that, like, Cillian Murphy's character is very cryptic and uncommunicative, and we just, like, wanted, like, I was watching with my sister, we just wanted once for his partner to go, no, you can't walk out after you say that, like, you have to come back, like, we have to do actual investigative work now. Like...
But you just follow the time.
Exactly. And they're like, what does it mean? And, or something like that. Or, like, they just roll their eyes and carry on working or anything like that. But his partner just, like, looks, like, confused and agrees with him all the time. And I would have liked to see a little bit of pushback on what is some terrible character script writing.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That would have been a much more enjoyable villain as well.
Yeah. And, a villain's funny sidekick is a staple of movies, and
exactly.
I love it.
Yeah. And I think that partner didn't get enough screen time. He was cool.
Yeah, he was
and
really
all he
cool.
got was, like, he was sort of, like, on Will and Sylvia's side, and then he was just sort of, like, pushed to the side. I was like, oh, well, that's a bit lame.
I'm glad they gave him any character arc at all, so...
Should I tell you about this director?
By all means. I desperately want to know who directed this. Because, I mean, again, visually, it was really cool.
It is very cool. So, you've got your boy. His name is Andrew Nicole.
Okay.
Oh, and he's done some very fun movies.
Ooh.
Not a whole lot of them, but he's done Gattaca, which is an awesome film.
Oh, shit. Okay.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Then he did Lord of War as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and I mean, to be fair, he wrote and directed this film. So, he also wrote Lord of War, he wrote Truman Show, he wrote Gattaca.
Wow.
So he's clearly a good writer, and then, like you said, visually this movie is stunning. Some of the B characters' script lines could be fixed. He's very bad at writing B characters, but his A characters know what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So he's a pretty cool dude. He's from New Zealand.
Ah, Kiwi.
And he's a Kiwi, and we appreciate him for this film. I think he did.
Yeah.
He did all right. Good
director.
Yeah. So
I think
good
he
on
just
him.
should have maybe gotten a good screenwriter in to fix, like, the logical inconsistencies and plotting inconsistencies. Just clean it up a little bit.
I think what a lot of writers don't do, and I think it's such an important thing to do, especially with script writing, is, yes, a lot of conversation is good for sort of plot development as well as, what's it called? Exposition.
Oh, right.
But also, you need to remember, and it's the golden rule and golden question that every screenwriter and just writer in general should keep in mind is, would an actual human being ever say that?
I mean, tell that to the writers of Riverdale.
Tell that to a lot of writers these days, to be fair.
God. There's so many movies now where you're like, no human being talks like this. Like, no one is like this.
Exactly. And it's upsetting to see that kind of writing, and it's like, what? No.
Yeah.
No. We get why you're doing it, but just don't do it. Be better than that.
Yeah, exactly. No, I agree completely.
So on that note,
woo,
well
done.
Thank you. Now, tell me about Autobots and Decepticons. Tell me Shia LaBeouf.
Okay. I just want to, at the top of this, I wrote a synopsis, which was hard. But at the top of this, I just want to say, I don't give a fuck about robots. So, bear with me.
That is, look, you're being honest with the people, and that's nice.
I watched a couple of episodes of the Transformers, like, animated series when I was a kid. I didn't give a fuck. I still truly do not, but I was never the target audience, so...
No, it's a very boys show, isn't it?
Oh, you think it's marketed to men? What would what gave that away?
Now that you say it, actually, there are no female Autobots.
Oh, I'll get into that. I read a piece of trivia on that.
Oh, how exciting! Okay, I'm ready.
I researched this because even if I don't give a fuck about robots, I know you guys do, and I don't want people to be mad at me. Okay, so Transformers. The movie begins with a brief introduction to Autobots, the good guys, and Decepticons, the bad guys. Both were brought to life by the Allspark, a cube which has the ability to grant life to technology. The two groups came to war when Megatron, now leader of the Decepticons, betrayed the Autobots and they fought over control of the Allspark, which was then lost on planet Earth. Fast forward thousands of years to present-day Qatar, where a group of American soldiers are stationed at a base. All seems well until an unauthorized helicopter appears and transforms into a Decepticon! A shootout occurs during which the Decepticon infiltrates the base's mainframe and downloads intelligence on the humans. The Decepticon destroys the base, but there is a group of survivors. Cut again to the USA, where 17-year-old Sam Witwicky, played by Shia LaBeouf, is giving a report on his family history. I swear this is important. His grandfather was one of the first Arctic explorers, and that's really cool, but he ended his days in an insane asylum where he ranted about a giant man he found in the ice. Again, I swear this is important. Sam is, of course, trying to sell his grandfather's old stuff, including his glasses, on eBay to raise money for a car. Also, critical to the plot.
Do you think Michael Bay just kept saying that when he was sort of trying to pitch this to DreamWorks?
I have to assume. Okay, after convincing his history teacher to give him an A, Sam is given the opportunity to buy a car with his dad's help. Sam finds the perfect beat-up old yellow Camaro, which he immediately takes for a spin to try and impress girls. While he's out, he sees Michaela Baines, which sounds nothing like Michael Bay, played by Megan Fox.
I didn't even realize that.
Mm-hmm. Michaela
that's great.
Baines.
That's some clever script writing right there.
Oh, Michael Bay. We're gonna get into Michael Bay. Okay. So he runs into her and the jocks that she's hanging out with. Sam embarrasses himself in front of her because he is an awkward human being, but redeems himself later by giving her a ride home. It turns out that she knows a lot about cars, because Sam's car mysteriously seems to be trying to wingman Sam, breaks down, she fixes it in the iconic lifting the hood scene. Back in Qatar,
girls wearing shorts.
The surviving soldiers find their way to a local village where they are again attacked by Decepticons. This time, though, they are able to contact the military and order an airstrike on the village. The Decepticon flees, and the men are saved. Unfortunately, their warning came too late, as Decepticons are able to hack into Air Force One's mainframe and begins to download information, with a focus on facts about Sam Witwicky's great-grandfather. I told you it would be important. A researcher at the Pentagon, Maggie Madsen, played by Rachel Taylor, is able to figure out what is happening, alerts the government to the interests of the unknown intelligence, and makes known what they were interested in. At the same time, Sam, after a bit of a runaround with his new car, finally learns that his car is in fact an Autobot named Bumblebee, after and Michaela narrowly escape the Decepticon Bumblebee is fighting. Conveniently, at this point, the other Autobots fall to Earth. Together, they explain to Sam and Michaela that they are here to stop Megatron from getting to the Allspark, and that Megatron had actually been frozen in the Arctic for thousands of years, but was discovered by Sam's great-grandfather, and the location of the Allspark was accidentally imprinted on the glasses that Sam was trying to sell. This is so long. I think this is one of the longest synopses I've ever done. Okay,
it's impressive.
Just as Sam retrieves the glasses, he and Michaela are arrested by Sector 7 agents. Sector 7 is a secret government intelligence branch. They, Maggie, and her buddy are all escorted to the Hoover Dam, where they meet up with the surviving soldiers from Qatar. The Hoover Dam is hiding both Megatron and the Allspark that had been discovered in the ice all those years ago. There's a lot of back and forth about what to do next, but it's too late, and the Decepticons have infiltrated the base and shut down the generators, causing the ice encasing Megatron to melt. They decide to escape with the Allspark and hide it in a nearby city to keep it away from the Decepticons. A huge battle follows, and the eventual outcome is that the city is partially destroyed, Megatron is defeated, and the Allspark is destroyed too. Everyone lives happily ever after, with Optimus Prime issuing a broadcast to remaining Autobots to come to Earth and make Earth their new home. Also, Sam and Michaela are together now, I guess. The end.
What a ride this film was.
That movie, it's so much longer than I remember.
It is so long.
It is painfully
unnecessarily long. So.
I did not realize I was going to spend my entire Sunday watching that movie.
It was ridiculous. I was an hour and a half in, and it still had 55 minutes to go. I was like, what? How?
I know.
How can it be this long?
So, thoughts?
It is a boys' film.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really nice that they took a beloved cartoon
mm-hmm.
and they made it into a real life live action film.
Yeah.
Because, it's lovely to see. We've seen it recently with things like Pikachu, and it's just really fun to see. Did it need to be this long? No. Did it need to be shot so complicated that you can't really recognize which end of the robot is its face and which end of the robot is its, arms or legs? Also no. Was the relationship between Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox completely random and not true to life? Yes.
The thing is,
What are your thoughts?
Oh god, I have so many. Okay. Where am I gonna start here? The animation was really good. That alone, I think the CGI for the Transformers, clearly a lot of effort and thought was put into that, and the action sequences were undeniably very, very cool.
Yeah.
Michael Bay's hard-on for the military remains evident. Good for him. Support our troops.
Support the troops.
Support the troops. At least they had a female scientist in it. Was she in heels the whole time?
Who was also hot.
Yes. But she was smart, even if she did run to her male friend for help. But she's smart, and that's a lot for Michael Bay.
It is. I don't think he understands that women can be more than two-dimensional.
Or that women can do anything, while not being hot.
That's also true. Apparently he believes that only hot women exist. In his universe, in the MBU, the Michael Bay universe, there are only hot women.
Yeah, and mothers. There's no in between.
Yeah.
I watched this YouTuber, her name is Lindsay Ellis. She does a lot of film theory stuff. And she has covered the Transformers movies extensively. But I want to talk specifically, she does a great video on how, Megan Fox's character is actually the most interesting character in this movie. And I will tell you why.
Oh, okay.
She's the only character that has a character arc. We learn at the very beginning, while Sam is, not listening to her at all and just checking her out, that she's actually really good at cars, and she used to take cars apart with her dad. But, a lot of guys don't really like that she's into cars. Again, Sam doesn't really listen to her at all during this.
No.
And also, it doesn't help that Michael Bay is, filming her like a sex object. And not a human
100%.
being. And then later on, we find out that her dad is in jail and she has a juvie record because she wouldn't turn her dad in for stealing cars. That is already 50 times more interesting than anything Sam has brought to the table so far. And any other
definitely.
character. And we learn, basically she helps him out and, she continues on because they offer to expunge her juvie record for helping them. And also she starts to really care about Bumblebee, and it turns out that she's really brave and helpful, and she does her best. And, it's actually a pretty solid character arc.
Yeah. No, you're 100% right, and it's completely glossed over.
Yeah.
In exchange for a bumbling 17-year-old white male who just
frustrating
fucks everything up.
Character I've ever met in my fucking life. Their relationship truly makes no sense. I would have really liked it if they actually just became friends, and she explained to him actually how to work on his car, and there was a fun mutual respect there. But it's very clear from the beginning that Sam actually doesn't respect her at all. He has some sort of mumbly line where he's "Oh, I think there's more to you than meets the eye," but he's just saying that to be nice. He doesn't believe it.
Yeah, and to have sex with her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Every nice thing he says or does to her is just because he thinks she's hot. He doesn't know anything about her.
Yeah. which she addresses. I remember she actually says that to him, and he has no reply to it.
He has no reply. It's never rectified or brought up again. They're just making out at the end of the movie, and even in the next movie, like, he doesn't want to say that he loves her. Like, that's the central plot, their central conflict. And that's probably because he doesn't love her. She is just insanely hot, and he wanted a status symbol from the beginning. Like, he says at the beginning, he's like, I got the car, now I've got to get the girl. Not which girl, just any hot girl would do.
The girl.
Exactly.
Yeah. He is actually, technically, he is worse than Trent. Also, best name ever. If you want your kid to be the world's biggest douche with a tribal tattoo and a puka necklace, call him Trent. But at least Trent's honest about it. He's like, I'm a football player, I'm super good looking, I want a trophy woman, and that's the end of it. That is what you are to me. You are a sex symbol, and that is it. To increase my status.
And she's like, no, I'm not. And he's like, okay, bye.
Bye. Yeah. Shia LaBeouf's character falls within the Ready Player One trap of the nice guy.
Yeah.
That we hate so much.
And he's not even that nice a guy. Like, he abandons his friend where they're hanging out so that he can give Michaela a ride alone. Like, his friend's like, hey, I'm kind of stranded here. He's like, yeah, sucks to be you. And we never hear from the friend again.
That's awful. What an awful, awful guy. And this is the guy you're going to trust with the entire universe?
Oh my god.
Oh, outrageous. Also, did you notice that the really douchey FBI agent was the Iranian guy from Meet the Zohan? Not Meet the Zohan, Never Mess with the Zohan.
Oh. He was the Phantom?
How great is that? Yeah, he was Phantom.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah, I think that's really great. That's really lovely.
Yeah, that's fun.
Do you want to talk about the female Autobots?
Oh, yeah, I'll mention this. It was just a piece of trivia. So, in the actual, like, comic books and TV show, there is a female Autobot, but the writers ended up not having her in this movie. They bring her in a later movie. They were like, they just didn't know how to explain robot gender in the script and have it work. So they were just like, you know what? Fuck it. We're not gonna go into it right now. Which, fair enough. This movie's so fucking long already. I truly don't care that there wasn't a female Autobot. Since Michael Bay is no good at female representation anyway, he can't be trusted.
It would be like in high heels and like really sexy and completely... It
would have boobs for some reason.
Yeah. It would make no sense. Like, that's probably why he didn't include it, is because he doesn't know how to make robots sexy. Now, I know this is not Michael Bay's fault, and I think it goes back to the entire, just the concept of Transformers, right? Mm-hmm. So, the Transformers are an alien species, right?
Okay.
Why do they have the anatomy of humans? Human shapes are really, really poor. Uh-huh. Like, our bodies are a really inefficient model. Mm-hmm. Like, the forward-facing eyes are okay, but the bipedal system's a bit ridiculous, that kind of thing. That's my first issue. And then at one point, Optimus Prime actually blinks. Why does a robot need to blink?
I cannot answer that question for you. Maybe some of our listeners can. I assume that it's to make them more sympathetic from, like, a writing point of view. Like, if they look like humans, we're more likely to sympathize with them, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, you are probably right. I
cannot
see
answer
that.
Your question.
That's fair enough. I mean, I posed these hard questions to you, and I don't know why, because it's not very fair on you.
I just said I don't give a fuck about robots, and here you are quizzing me.
So, out of the Decepticons, which would you say was better in a fight? Would you say it was Skull Crusher or Wind Death? I don't know their names. I don't give a fuck.
I know there's one called Starscream, and I remember that because I was like, that's actually a sick name.
That would be a great drag name.
Oh, man. I would be surprised if it wasn't already.
Yeah. I would actually, to be fair, all of the Transformers names would be great drag names.
Optimus Prime.
How great. Bumblebee.
Oh.
Amazing.
Again, I'm so sure that these are already drag queens.
Yeah.
I need to watch more Drag Race, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, we all do.
We all do.
So, I mean, have you seen any of the other Transformer films?
I vaguely remember watching the second one when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I was like, oh, I actually don't have to watch these. So I didn't. And my life has been great.
Yeah, it's been... You haven't wasted so much time, necessarily. I mean, they have their place. Their place is just not for us, I would say.
Yeah, look, I mean... These movies... First of all, you're just in it for the action sequences, really. Like, the fact that they have a plot is pretty secondary. And that's fine. You know, not... I don't know. I'm like, my brain is really fighting me defending these movies.
This is what we're paid to do, but not really because we're not being paid for this.
There's nothing wrong with watching an action movie for the action's sake. And the action is really solid. You've got men fighting robots. You've got the military. You've got some terrible jokes. You've got cars. You know, like, just roll with it.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly sort of the market that it's going for.
Yeah.
It's going for sort of, you know, men who have a beer in one hand and the other hand down their pants.
Yeah.
And they're just, you know...
Bold of you to assume it's men
switched
and not
on
teenage boys.
Oh, and teenage boys as well, I guess. But yeah, it has its place, and you know what? It's a film, and if you enjoy it, that's good for you. But I certainly shan't be participating in any more Transformer films unless you force me to watch them.
I mean, I'm not planning on it anytime soon, but you know, next time we're running out of ideas.
There's always another 400 of these films because Michael Bay doesn't know when to stop.
He really doesn't. Shall we... Oh, do you want to do a scene that could have saved it?
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Scene that could have saved it. Probably switch out the protagonists. So, like you said, you know, Megan Fox is just such a better person, and it would have just been really cool to see, like, this really awesome chick with this bumbling asshole of a sidekick, sort of like Kim Possible.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
That would have been legit.
Yeah, that would have been really cool. Especially because she, like, saves him a couple times. He never says thank you.
No.
It really bothered me. She, like, saved him from that mini Decepticon with the saw. Like, she thought, and she was like, oh, here, I'll come save you. And, like, he doesn't say thanks. They just run off. And it's just, like, if it were me, and it was the guy who's, like, potentially a love interest, and that happened, I'd be like, well, that's not happening.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, how do you...
Maybe I'm just really petty, though.
To be fair, she's probably going through, like, a survival...
Yeah, that's
thing,
true.
And that's the reason why she's dating him. It's literally just because we survived the end of the world together kind of vibe, I would think. What's your scene that could have saved it?
There are so many scenes already. Oh, I genuinely liked the interactions of the female scientist and her friend when they're in the holding cell. I thought those scenes were actually genuinely really funny. So it's not necessarily a scene that could have saved it. It's just a scene that didn't make me want to die.
That's fair. They had some good chemistry. It would have been better to have more of them.
Oh, sorry. Last thing. Very last thing.
Oh, yes.
So, they're wondering what to do with the Allspark, right? Because they don't want Megatron to get in and destroy the world. And they're like, what should we do to keep this very important thing away from this extremely destructive force? I know. We'll hide it among many civilians in a city. Like, they're actively like, you know what we should do? Endanger as many lives as humanly possible.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect.
Michael Bay just wanted a city fight scene and couldn't think of a good way to do it.
What could possibly go wrong?
It was the dumbest thing. And it's like, and these are like soldiers, like actual like soldiers who just got back from Qatar and like had made friends with the locals who were like, you know what we should do is we should endanger civilian lives. What?
Genius. Yes.
They did not evacuate that city.
Thing.
There are people running around the entire fight.
Like, they didn't cordon off any areas. There was nothing. Nothing. Where was the government? What was happening?
So, that should be seen. They should be, I don't know, punished for that court-martial.
Yeah, there should be a giant inquest after this film. Yeah, that's actually the plot of Transformers 2.
What the fuck were you thinking?
Yeah, like, literally just... impeachment for all of the government officials.
Yeah.
National defense should just get fired and put in prison. And, and then, you know, the Autobots should probably be sent away for being a international threat to humankind.
No, they live among us now. On that note, let's talk about Michael Bay. Many people will have seen his work. Obviously, Transformers, 13 Hours, Pain and Gain, which was a terrible movie.
I've never heard of that in my life.
A bunch of the Transformers movies. The Island, Bad Boys 2, Pearl Harbor, of course, Armageddon, of course, Bad Boys 1, a bunch of Meatloaf music videos.
Of course.
Yeah. So that's Michael Bay. I was reading trivia about this movie.
Yeah.
And people have said that working with Michael Bay is like looking into the mouth of insanity. He is very much a perfectionist, Stanley Kubrick-esque director who is not afraid to put his cast in danger, and often did. There's a scene where the soldiers are still in Qatar, and the Autobot comes up out of the sand behind them.
Yeah.
And that was an actual explosion, like he laid explosions behind them, and he told them that they just need to run and keep running no matter what, or else they might actually die.
What?
So the fear on their faces in that scene is 100% real. Basically, anytime he could get the actors to realistically do the stunts, they did. He had actual attack dogs put on Shia LaBeouf in the one scene, and one of the dogs kept attacking him after they yelled cut. And that was the first scene he filmed with Michael Bay for that movie.
Oh, good. So we now know why Shia LaBeouf went insane.
So Michael Bay, would we say he's a bad director? No, I think he's the perfect director for his genre, which is dude movies.
Yeah.
Do I personally enjoy him? No. But he's a fine... Like, his action sequences are undeniably, technically very good. He definitely has technical skill as a director. I just hate it.
Yeah, and I mean, look, like, I enjoyed Bad Boys 1 and Bad Boys 2, but again, they're very shooty gun explosion-y movies, and that's all they're good for.
That's fine, you know? There's clearly a niche and a market for that genre, and he's filling it. And that is the closest I will ever come to defending Michael Bay.
And the misogyny thereof. Because, I mean, like, let's be fair, both him and Stanley Kubrick, like, if any other human being, if any other woman had been like, well, I'm going to endanger the lives of my cast, they wouldn't be seen as visionaries, they would be seen as fucking criminals.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's this whole Maverick thing of, he gets the results.
Yeah, exactly.
Load of horse shit.
Yeah, no,
and that type of thing needs to stop.
You shouldn't endanger the lives of the people working with you, or drive them to nervous breakdowns, Stanley Kubrick.
But he gets the good shots, Simone.
God. Okay, so that's Transformers.
Goddamn. Well done. I'm glad we've done it now. And much like the Allspark, we can just put it to rest forever. Mm-hmm. What is the ending of the other 400 movies? Because I feel like... I don't care.
No, you really actually don't care.
No, not even a little bit. Well, there you go, Simone. So, last segment, the pick-me-up, the sugar in your coffee. What are you excited for?
Chad, I actually just saw this trailer today. HBO is doing a series out of the book that I have not shut up about, Nosferatu, by Joe Hill. HBO is doing a series.
Oh, they're doing one?
The trailer came out today. It looks insane. I'm so glad they're doing it as a series and not a movie so that they can get all the bits in.
Yeah.
I am shaking with excitement. I'm so thrilled. Guys, go watch the trailer. Nosferatu on HBO. HBO is really trying to make up for the vacuum being left behind by Game of Thrones, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, especially with Nosferatu. I mean, we're both, well, you've read the book. I'm reading it for the minisode. Yeah, for the minisode.
How do you like it?
It's so good. Holy shit.
Everything.
In love with Vic.
Oh,
she's amazing. In love with Lou. Fucking all of them are just so good.
It makes me want to cry because I'm like, I will never write anything this good. It's so insane.
It's so good. It is. I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and I cannot wait to have an entire episode dedicated to it.
They have cast to play Charlie Manx. They cast Zachary Quinto.
Yes.
He does a mean evil character.
Yes.
I'm just thrilled about the whole thing. I am so excited.
That is going to be so good. I'm going to go watch the trailer after this. I'm so excited. Mm-hmm. Yes, that is going to be amazing. And if you guys haven't read the book, go read the book. Yeah. Watch the trailer. Amazing. Unbelievable.
Yeah, we'll try to get the mini-sode out before the series comes out. I mean, you must be flying through the book. I know I couldn't put it down. So we'll get that mini-sode out soon, you guys. And what do you think is going to podcast?
So I had one of two films, and so I'm going to go for Killers Anonymous.
Okay.
Don't know if you've seen the trailer for this one, but it looks atrocious. So basically, it does have my favourite Gary Oldman in it, who I love usually. But in this, it's basically like these bunch of ex-cons who are all murderers, and now they're in a club, and now they go around killing people, and it's sort of very anti-villain, anti-hero kind of vibe. But the lines, like, in the trailer, like, it just, like, it feels really cheesy and really corny, and it's very confusing on what the actual plot is. Plus, like, the color scheme looks really messed up. It's all very black and red, and usually that could be quite cool, but it's just like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So... swing and a miss from Gary Oldman, but it happens.
Oh, we'll find out. Maybe. You never know.
You never know. I could be completely wrong.
But it wouldn't be the first time Gary Oldman found himself in a shocking movie.
That is true, as this podcast has demonstrated.
So shall we tell the people what we're going to do next week? I'm so excited about this.
Yes, this is so exciting. Tell the people, Simone. It was your idea.
So
Explain.
Next week, you guys, we're going to do a Batman-themed episode. Because there are a lot of bad Batman movies out there. And because we know nothing, and because this person has been complaining at us ruthlessly every time we get a fact wrong, we'll be bringing our dear friend Dan onto the show.
So exciting.
Yes, so we're going to have a special guest Batman expert.
Yes. He has, in fact, been Batman on multiple occasions.
Yes.
In real life.
Yes.
And he is just a fantastic human being. He's the best human being.
I'm so excited. Yeah. I'm so excited.
It's going to be amazing.
So which one of the movies do you want to do, and which one should I do?
I can do Batman and Robin if you want to do...
Okay. So Chad is going to do Batman and Robin, and I am going to be doing Batman versus Superman, the movie that did so well.
Exciting. But, you know, when I think of Batman versus Superman, all I can think about is how it wasn't long enough, and that I wanted a director's cut. And then when you look at that, they released the director's cut, which is an extra half an hour.
I'm not going to watch the director's cut.
No.
Because
no
frankly,
one has enough time
if it needs the director's cut to be good, then it's not good.
Exactly. So, so that's very exciting. I am excited,
yes, guys,
not just to have Dan, but to have Batman, to talk about Batman again. It's always exciting.
It's going to be super, super fun.
Yeah. So, Simone, where can the people find you?
The people can find me on Instagram at simone.ellie.rux. They can find us on Twitter and Facebook at It's Not That Bad 1, and on Instagram at It's Not That Bad Podcast. They can also email us at itsnotthatbad@gmail.com. Where can the people find you?
You see, you like the people find you thing, and I like the Simone.
Yeah.
So we've got our things, we've got our niches. That's what makes this podcast such a solid ecosystem.
Sure.
Know, just perfect. Yeah, that's the one. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter as well at Chatsby1993. That's CHADSBY 1993. And please do write in, you guys. We love to hear from you. We love to get your comments. It's always really, really good to hear some constructive feedback and that you just enjoy us and that you like us. We are both millennials, and so we thrive on your positive reinforcement.
Yeah.
Without it, very much like Justin Timberlake's mum in Time, we die. And so... please, do write in, subscribe, give us a rating. We really appreciate it. And as we say at the end of every episode, we love you and there's nothing you can do about it.
We love you and there's nothing you can do about it. Bye!
Bye-bye!